You must be delighted with the reaction, given these movies are have so many fans and criticise in many ways. You must be delighted that it's been received so well so far.
Yeah, it's really groovy, man. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, these movies, like you said, they're beloved. There are some of these characters have been around. Like my character, Captain Marvel Shazam, has been around since 1939. That's 80 years of people pouring their money into that, their energy into that, their love into that, supporting it over the years, even when it was kind of like out of print or in print, or it became a niche character. I mean, I've seen these people online. I've met some of them in person. They are very passionate people. And that's just Shazam. I mean, can you imagine if you're Superman? Like, everyone in the world has an idea of what you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do. So there's a lot of pressure. I try to see that. I don't feel it as pressure. I feel it as a responsibility and quite a gift, that an honor that you get to do justice to this role and this franchise and those fans. And look, you're not going to make everybody happy, unfortunately, because there's going to be some people that no matter what you do, they're still going to feel like, well, you didn't do what I wanted, and that's it. But I'm still going to love those people regardless, and I'm going to try and hopefully always bring the best work that I can bring to them.
And you're one of the rare people that's done Marvel and DC. I mean, have you enjoyed kind of going from one universe to another and seeing these filmmakers bring these characters to life?
Yeah, I mean, look, if anybody told me in the beginning that I would get to do both universes, and I'd be like, yeah, great, totally. But at the moment, I was just super happy that I was cast by Kenneth Branagh and Kevin Feige in Marvel, that they gave me that opportunity as Fandral. I don't feel like I had all that much to do in that franchise. And then when I died, it was a little bit of a bummer, and I thought, well, maybe that was it. Maybe that was my superhero chip, and I played it, and I got on the board, and cool, rock and roll. That's more than a lot of other people get. But had I known, to die in Marvel, to be born again in the DC universe with such an incredible character, with such a good heart, that he's 14, that I get to have my, Tom Hanks' big movie with superpowers, is so dreamy, man. It's all so cool. Shazam is an acronym. It stands for the wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules, the stamina of Atlas, the power of Zeus, the courage of Achilles, and the speed of Mercury. So as a superhero, I'm pretty stacked. And I think the idea is to essentially give everybody a taste of each one of those powers while we're here. As an adult, you never get to play a kid again. Once you're beyond a kid, you don't really, as an actor, you don't get to play kids. So it's really, really fun to dive into that, kind of return to my inner child, which is easier than maybe for other people because I never really grew up anyway. And just enjoying the wish fulfillment that I'm experiencing personally, in that I've always dreamt of being a superhero and always dreamt of playing a superhero. So it's all happening, man. So basically, they made the games quite hard, so that the kids will kind of get to a point and then be able to say Shazam, and then it becomes much easier, as if they're given kind of a part of that power, which is fun.
I'm the bad guy, basically, and this is the first time we're going to show the film in London, which is really exciting because it's my hometown. And this particular carnival is a replica of the carnival at the end of the movie where we have a massive fight, good versus evil. I think there's lots of messages. There's first of all, have fun. Do you know what I mean? We've all wanted to be a superhero. I mean, we had that idea of what would we do, what would be the best superhero power. This is a film that kind of indulges that and allows you to play with that. But there is this idea at the beginning, it starts with the backstory of the villain, which is incredibly unusual. So young Sivana gets to make this choice, whether to be good or bad. And it's ironic that his family, that is supposedly the good family, ends up with him making a bad choice. And Billy's mother, who's deserted him, he ends up being the champion. So you can make of that what you will.
Hey David, Scott from Hey You Guys. Lovely to meet you. Congratulations on the movie. We're just talking to your producer about the movie and the reaction. I mean, these movies are so heavily kind of scrutinised by fans and critics and everything else. Yeah. You must be delighted that even if you're still a few weeks away from releasing, that you've had such a great reaction so far and that people are taken to it so positively.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite a relief, and I love that we've been able to do all of these early screenings like we're doing today here in London to gauge audiences' reactions. So I don't have to wait until April 5th to know that, okay, the movie's actually working and people are actually liking it.
Yeah, that comes with pressure, though, I guess, in terms of sequels and everything else. But are you looking forward to that kind of pressure?
That's a good kind of pressure where people want more,
Tell me about what attracted you to this, because obviously you come from a horror background and filmmaker. What was it about this particular superhero and this particular kind of movie in this canon that kind of spoke to you?
I mean, it's such a unique concept that we haven't really seen in superhero movies before, where a kid actually gets to become an adult superhero, which leads to a lot of joy and fun, you know. And for me, it was a chance to tap into a lot of the movies that I grew up with and made me love cinema, like The Goonies or Ghostbusters or Gremlins or Amblin movies that have that sense of fun adventure, but actually have some drama and even sometimes some horror in it as well, to create some real sense of danger.
Did this present any challenges for you as a filmmaker, going from horror to this, or was it relatively kind of straightforward for you that you were able to bring your vision to the screen?
Yeah, I mean, it was certainly it's quite a step up in budget and scope and just technicalities that I haven't had to deal with before, like how you create a super suit, which is actually very hard, especially when you have far out ideas like having the light bulb actually glow in real life. So that presented challenges in that sometimes that would malfunction and you would have to redo takes and things, but I think it paid off in the end because it looks awesome.
Yeah, and obviously, as you say, you got great reviews. People will obviously talk about a sequel should you be successful. I mean, are you prepared for going back to this world if they allow you to do so?
I mean, we'll see what happens. Right now, the focus has just been on finishing this film and getting it out there, and you know, because we just wanted to make sure that this was the best movie we could make it without worrying about setting up potential sequels and things like that. So, I mean, we'll see how things develop.
Hey, Peter Scott from Hey You Guys.
Hey, how are you?
Lovely to meet you. Congratulations on the movie.
Thank you. Did you see it?
I haven't yet.
All right, that's fine.
So no spoilers.
Yeah, good.
These movies are so kind of heavily scrutinised when they come out, but you must be delighted with the fact that you're so far out from the release that you've been embraced so amazingly so far.
Well, you know, I think the film has a really unique tone. It is genuinely this fun and funny action comedy with a great wish fulfillment center to it. And that's pretty unique in the superhero world, and I think that that's why people have embraced it so much, for its originality. There are a lot of superhero movies out there, and I think to be able to really stand out from the crowd is something that people have applauded.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the DCEU, we've had movies before, and now there's kind of I guess in a way they're going back to the core, which is the characters and everything else. I mean, how early into the process was this something that you wanted to make, and why did you think this was a story that people wanted to see?
Well, you know, Shazam's been around for a very long time, the 1940s, and I think we're always looking for unique stories to tell, and he's just such a great character. It was the first time you could see, you know, what it's like through the eyes of a teen becoming an adult superhero, and it kind of talks to the teen in all of us that read comic books and, you know, loved them and wondered what would it be like to have superpowers. This movie kind of shows you what it is.
Yeah. And to have someone like David at the helm, who's a very unique filmmaker, he's come from horror and everything else, but what made him kind of perfect? Because he's come from, you know, from a horror background, if you like.
Well, you know, listen, there's a whole history of horror filmmakers transitioning to superhero movies. You know, going back to The Omen and Dick Donner, and then doing Superman next, or James Wan, Conjuring universe, doing Aquaman. So it's a pretty natural progression, and I think one of the great things they bring to the table is a real sense of tension and jeopardy that they bring to the villain story, because I think without a great villain, it's hard to have a great superhero.
Yeah, and I mean, coming off the back of Aquaman, which was a huge success, which must have been beyond your wildest dreams,
It's
I can
exactly
imagine.
what we thought was going to happen.
Do you feel in a really healthy position now going into the future, whether it's sequels, whether it's new stories, whether it's
with Aquaman in general?
With Aquaman and with Shazam, I guess, in the future.
I mean, listen, I think that everybody's embraced the idea that tell the right story for the right superhero. And I think as long as that's the mandate, it's pretty exciting moving forward, because you're not trying to get shoehorned into some collective universe that may or may not actually work for the character you're dealing with.
Yeah, and just mentioned on the cast, I mean, Zachary, fantastic, and all the young guys in it. I mean, how lucky were you, and how privileged do you feel to have these guys, and you got kind of the people that you wanted, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was fantastic. I mean, Zach Levi, I really can't picture anybody else playing the role, because you needed somebody that is a kid at heart, that's like a 14-year-old boy in real life, but also has a big physical presence, and Zach is the unique guy that has that. So we're fortunate to have him. Mark Strong was the only guy we ever spoke to about Sivana. He's incredible. Jack Dylan Grazer, the first guy we cast in the movie. We love him. And Asher Angel, who really could bring kind of that gravitas that you needed for the young Billy Batson.
Yeah. Just finally, I know you're connected with Aquaman. Obviously, they've announced a sequel.
Yeah.
I mean, is it refreshing to know that with this one, you're just going out there with the product first, rather than knowing that you're connected to anything else, that if you get a sequel, you've kind of earned it in a way?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's actually similar to Aquaman, which is just go out and you make the best movie you can possibly make, and if people embrace it, you know you're going to get the opportunity to make more.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys! Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey